Awesome. That's us. We've been doing this for a bit now. It's past May 8th. It's where's Fault, man? Where is it? I even have it downloaded. I can't play it though. Anywho, for anyone that doesn't know, Fault was originally supposed to come out yesterday. Uh, Early access, so essentially beta. It was supposed to come out yesterday, but it did not, as they just experienced a delay, just like many other video game companies did because of the virus. Which it's normal. It's gonna be a better game, I think, in the long. Yeah, allegedly. That's our hopes and dreams, of course. Guys, I got a dual monitor setup now. So I only had one monitor for a while, but now I have two. So number one, I should be able to have the chat up at all times and not have to use my phone. Yeah, I used to have to use my phone, but I should be able to see it no problem now. And number two, I don't know how it's going to work if I try to put up a video. Like, is it going to go on this monitor or this monitor? Like, can I put a video on my left monitor and it won't show up on stream? Or like, I don't know. I'll have to figure that out. But for now, this is what we got. So for our acts today, we got for Act 1, we got released hero kits. There's just been a few things going on Twitter that Strange Matter Studios have been releasing, and it just talks about just a few hero kits. And some of them are quite a pleasant surprise or an unpleasant surprise with just how when we saw them. And then Raptors or Fangtooth. I bring this up at least once a stream about big raptors. I'm obsessed, guys. I'm obsessed. And I would love to see what Stephen Chandler's opinion and anyone else's opinion that may want to chime in either through chat, or if you would want, you can always join the Discord there and talk about it on stream with us about what the difference is and if there is truly a difference in gameplay when it comes to the Raptors, or if it, in all reality, it doesn't matter, kind of thing. We got our extra topics, of course, if we get to those. And then at 6 p.m. Eastern to 7 p.m. Eastern, we're going to talk about top-down versus third person. So essentially, we're going to start brainstorming what is the difference. I have a few little points myself that I would love to talk about. And then we got our jungle layout. This is the topic that took 10 hours yesterday, or a few hours ago with the testers. And it got deep. It got really deep, to say the least. And then we're going to take a little 5 to 10 minute break somewhere in between there, most likely just a 5 for Act 3. And we're going to talk about farming tactics and the Prime buff changing. Is it going to change? And if it does change, what we would like to see, and so on and so forth, and what the community would like to see there. Yeah. So that is that. 100%. So let me bring up a hero kit because I saw this. Can I make it full screen, or is it just gonna be a little baby clip? No. It can't. This is going to be bigger. Okay, sounds good. Okay, let me switch the screens there. So, yeah, see, now it's just showing this. You see what I'm talking about? But if I bring this over, oh. Hang on, so I just had it on the wrong screen then. Yeah, okay. That's actually awesome, because then this doesn't have to happen anymore. But there we are. So first thing, guys, we want to talk about Boris. So Boris was released on the Strange Matter Studios Twitter page. What they've been doing, I think, to keep the community somewhat engaged to the best of their abilities with the current stuff that they have available to the public, is they've just been releasing the hero kits on their Twitter page, and it's actually pretty awesome. And the one thing that Strange Matter Studios have been doing different than Paragon ever did was they're adding passives to all the characters. There was passives back in the Legacy version of Paragon, but that quickly got erased from existence. But they're bringing it back. They're bringing it back because their mind's eye is that these heroes will make a they'll be more in depth, and they'll have more of like a niche with these passives. So yeah, we first have Boris. So what we got here is we got his R, or his triangle, which would be his ultimate, which Boris rockets into the air and comes crashing down on a targeted enemy, dealing physical damage. Rocket Slam deals bonus damage the more the target is missing health, and execute targets that are under a certain health threshold. So like if you're less than 25% health, you just get executed. You're just RKO'd one shot kind of thing. As passive, it's Bloodlust. Heal for a percent of basic attack damage dealt. Basic attacks deal more damage the more health you and your target are missing. So essentially, the lower health you are, the more he hits. Yeah. And then he has his blood tracker. This is where he's sniffing his cocaine. Passive Boris senses the direction of all enemy heroes that are low health anywhere on the map. Active Boris senses the nearest hero, regardless of how much health they have, and gains movement speed. When moving toward the target, his attack speed is greatly enhanced when his within melee range of the target. So essentially, he takes a little sniff, and then he becomes faster and stronger. And then, so now we got the E, or the circle, the bare necessities. Passive units drop energy when they die that Boris can collect to fill his 4 canisters. Active, Boris injects all canisters that are full and gains varying effects. 1 canister enhances his Bloodlust healing, 2 enhances his Bloodlust damage, 3 grants movement speed, and 4 grants unstoppable for a second. So when he gets minion kills, or hero kills, they'll drop something that you can pick up that's unique to Boris, that you can pick up, and it fills your canisters on your back. And then you can inject them all, like they're a needle. Or maybe you drink them. I'm not entirely sure what the animation is, to be honest. Yeah. And then you get all those buffs. And then he has his basic attack. He just swings his claws at you like a grizzly bear. And then his RMB and R1, his Maul, leaps forward a short distance, passing through enemies and dealing 2 basic attacks to all units along the path. Applies on-hit effects and cannot critically strike. Boris is unstoppable for the duration. So, Steven Chandler, what do you guys think about this? As someone that never got to play any of the alpha weekends or the holiday access, and someone that was waiting for Boris, but it actually never got released. Black Neon, thank you for the follow. I really appreciate it. I'm glad you're enjoying it. If you wanna come in and chat on stream, just join our Discord and we can make it happen. So what do you guys think of this kit? Like, does this kit to you, does this feel like a good kit at face value when you just read it? What do you mean you can't hear you on stream? Okay. Hang on. Technical difficulties already. Good job, Greg. Okay, I tried their Oh no, I'll figure it out. I got it actually. Sorry guys. I know.
All good. I just figured while Steven was talking.
It should be good there now.
Yep, perfect.
Yeah. Well, I had it set to my new monitor. My new monitor doesn't have any volume coming out of it. Anywho, long story, it's fixed now. Sorry?
All good.
What were you saying, Steve?
Yeah, so it wasn't heard, but I really like his passive, the Bloodlust there. Because just one sec. Oh god. Okay, yeah, there we go. Yeah, because I'm a really big Bloodborne fan, right? The whole thing in Bloodborne, the difference between that and Dark Souls was you could regain health by attacking, and what it does is it incentivizes an offensive playstyle, and it makes you less scared, because as long as you're attacking, you're still getting that health back. I think the fact that you can deal exponential damage is pretty huge. I think that'll make him really, really powerful. I think the thing I like the most is that Bare Necessities ability. I think adding a kit and a tactic list to a character is always a really, really good idea, and it gives them a lot of depth. I do have a concern though. I don't know if this is like a bad idea from like a development standpoint, but just as like in certain games, I know that sometimes it's helpful. I wonder if they should make it that so like let's say I have 3 canisters filled, right? But let's say I don't want movement speed. I want to have the Bloodlust healing effect 3 like different times. Like I want to activate it and then activate it right again once it goes down.
Yeah.
Is it going to be you have to inject all of them that are filled, or can you pick and choose? Like if I have 4, can I just get increased Bloodlust damage twice?
Yeah, I wonder if you just cycle them through, because remember, a lot of the times the abilities, you click once and it sort of like primes it, and the other one actually activates it.
Okay.
Yeah,
You
well,
might
I
be
mean,
able to click one to prime
because
it,
it's
and
saying here Boris injects all canisters that are full and gains varying effects. So that's making me think that it's going to be you have to inject all of them, which I think that makes it a little bit less strategic, because maybe you have 4, and I mean, maybe what you need is movement speed, but instead you're going to get unstoppable. You know what I mean? Or maybe you need to deal a bit more damage, so you want to enhance your bloodlust, but no, you just have a movement speed buff in the middle of a team fight. You know what I mean?
I guess the first 2 it lists directly coincide with his passive, so that's probably more times than not you'll have like your 2 canisters and you'll pop that, and it'll only be when you start to like fill up more to get to that 3rd is when you decide, hey, I don't need the healing or whatever, I want the movement speed. And then unstoppable is sort of just like the ultimate like benefit to holding off on using any of them.
Yeah,
that's the only thing I see, because like it's just the fact that those first 2 canisters that fill directly affect your passive, something that's always going on in the background regardless of if you have it activated or not. That kind of makes sense to me.
Yeah, but I think my idea is like, if I'm in a team fight, I don't want movement speed, right? Like I'd probably want to increase damage, but I have the 3, and now I have to use it to try and get up to 2, because if I keep going up, you know what I mean, I'll just go up to 4. Or maybe it's like, because
that's why 3 is the movement speed and the last one's unstoppable. So in those team fights, you're pretty well always going to pop it off at 2 canisters full.
Yeah, but what if you have 3, like going into a team fight?
Well, increased movement speed in a team fight isn't going to be the worst thing.
Yeah, but like a team fight, you're not really moving around everywhere. You're all staying in one spot.
Yeah, unless you start getting smacked and you got to get out of the team fight.
Yeah, but that's kind of going against his passive, because the passive is you want to stay in the fight. You heal every time you hit,
Yeah.
and the less health that
So
you
even
have,
better.
less
So
health.
you're in a team fight, and then you guys are winning because you have that extra damage, and now it's easier for you to chase somebody on the opposite team that
Yeah.
decides to run.
Movement
So
speeds.
that way, movement speed would be an offensive bonus because again, you got to think about how the game's actually played. Like most times, there's one or two people who start to run.
I don't. I just feel like if it feels like there should be a way to not, because like, what if you're trying to get away and you have 4? Yeah, you get unstoppable, but what if that's not the problem? Like, you're not getting rooted, but like you're still getting shot or you're getting attacked. You know what I mean? Or like maybe you need that extra bit of damage.
Well, that's why he has his leap forward. So that's another way to get away.
See, so I'm just gonna. I'll just put this. So they're in debate right now, as you guys can hear there. But just for anyone that doesn't know, Boris is okay in Alpha 3 weekend, which I did play. He was the Iggy before version 42 of Fault. What I mean by that is he was absolutely terrible, and this was his kit. Like it's the same thing, and it actually ended up being like a big deal, even in the Strange Matter Discord there, where someone actually took the time to create a website talking about saying that Boris is bad, because it wasn't just tester knowledge at this point. It was public knowledge that they just felt that Boris was bad. And his kit's pretty good for the most part. I do have a few qualms about it myself, but his kit's pretty good. Like I don't. It might just be his numbers, like his actual damage output and healing output might be, that could be just the problem, and that's all I hope it is. But they did say they buffed him, so I'm hoping he's a lot better there now. But yeah, like he's just not good, and he was designed primarily for the jungle, and like you can play him in the off lane, of course, but definitely jungle base first, and he is nowhere that Sevarog or Chimera is in the jungle. Even Countess is better in the jungle than he is. Countess is actually pretty good in the jungle at the moment, but
But I think that's why his passive is going to be so good in the jungle.
yeah, it makes sense. But the how do I word this? The biggest problem I think with Boris is, yeah, he's getting more. He basically has like he essentially has like a Chimera E. So like Chimera's passive is that the more he hits, the more he heals, kind of thing, and more damage he does.
Yeah.
And that's essentially what Bare Necessities is. But it's more difficult to get, and it's not as good.
Well, we also don't know how quick that fills yet. Like how many actual mobs you need to kill to get it.
Yeah, because
like
it could be.
If you can get your first and second canister full from, let's say, you're sitting in the jungle and you only kill 9 mobs, and now all of a sudden you have 2 canisters full. Like it's nothing to get up to that 3 and 4, and you're popping it off more often. Like I mean, it's not that broken of ability that you'd want it on, let's say, a 2-minute cooldown to be unstoppable.
Yeah, that's true.
Like realistically, like I just don't think it's going to be that big of a deal to have to pop all of them off at the same time.
Yeah.
Because again, we have no idea how quick it actually, like, mind you, if it takes me 4 minutes to fill up those canisters from regular jungle firemen, and like it's really like a big decision to decide to drop that ability, then okay, that's going to be a little bit of annoying. But just judging by the kit, I can't imagine they balance it in a way that makes it so that like you're only using those full 4 canisters every 4 to 5 minutes.
Yeah. And I see what Steve is saying. Like the thing with he's just getting beefy is all he is. You know what I mean? But like as a jungler in particular, his
Maul, he just has more sustain now.
Yeah, he has more sustain, but he has like his ganking potential is terrible. For example, like his Maul doesn't stun anyone, so you just get hit twice and then you can run away. but he does get a movement speed buff. So maybe not. Maybe you can't. Maybe that works.
Yeah, I
out
was gonna say
well.
between the movement speed and that's the whole point of blood trackers. Like while you're in the jungle, you can tell if somebody in that lane beside you is getting low. So now all of a sudden, you have the mindset that hey, it's time to gank now because I know they're low. I have the movement speed buff, and you just jump into the lane.
Yeah.
Personally, I really like it. It just makes sense for a jungler.
Yeah, and it is different, and it's something we're not used to see.
I just wish you could be more situational with it and like just specific, like, because I like the whole kit, and I'm not even saying bare necessities is bad. I'm just saying I can think of a few settings where if I had 4 for whatever reason, let's say I had to clean up a lane because someone died, and then someone comes in and I have really low health, maybe I don't need unstoppable for that little fight. I just need that bonus healing. Do you know what I mean? And I just like I don't know how they would do that because I think obviously it can't take up any of his abilities, and I don't know if they could effectively implement a system that allowed you to cycle through them, kind of like in Final Fantasy or something like that.
Okay, yeah.
You know how like if you're about to use Thunder, you can just press right and use Thundara, and then you press right against Thundaga.
Oh,
and,
so
you know,
you want the ability to choose which canister you use first.
yeah. Do you know what? That's what
Ah.
I meant. You know,
So
because
then,
like if you're,
yeah,
because it's kind of like you know how you need mana to cast certain spells and magic, right?
yeah,
It's kind of like the more units you kill, the more mana you get, but you can still cast a 1 drop 4 times, but like maybe not stacking it. I feel like if you stacked the healing 4 times, it would be kind of broken. I feel like you would have to activate the ability at whatever level, and it just expended one of the canisters,
yeah.
or 2 of them, or
Well,
3
let's
of
just
them.
think about this from point of view. So, let's say for now it is like it is what it is because this is what it is.
It
So
is.
you can't choose. All you know is, but you'll be able to tell when your canisters are full or not. That you will be able to do. So you know that uh, at 1 you get healing, at 2 you get damage, at 3 you get movement speed, and at 4 you're a walking freight train
All
kind of
those
thing.
abilities stack at the same time, correct? Once you pop off all 4.
Yes, they have to. They have to.
So that's the thing. Like Steven's saying, like you're not just getting unstoppable. I'm not sure if that's what you think it was. Like you don't only get unstoppable because you have 4 filled. Like you get that movement speed as well.
Yeah. When
So
you
if you
inject the
use
Like
all
you're not
4,
choosing between movement speed or unstoppable. You're getting both because you have all 4 canisters full.
Yeah.
I
You
was
inject.
afraid that it would be that. That isn't too broken, is it?
No, it's not.
But again, it's all going to depend on how long it takes to fill.
Now
Like
I don't.
I would think that'd be too broken. Like
I
if
don't
you
think it
got
will
all
be
4 of
because
those,
you can just because it's one of those things that like you can just tune the numbers down so it won't be a big deal. That's like
Yeah, and that's
an
why they
easy
don't
number
have any
fix.
percentages up right now or any actual
it
And it
damage
almost
makes
down.
seems like an ultimate though.
his
Like if you're
bear.
gonna get heal, like because he has intrinsic lifesteal. It's part of his passive. So you're getting bolstered lifesteal, a damage buff, a movement speed, and you can't be CC'd. That feels like that. You like when Phase hits you with her ult. It feels like a Phase ult, like
Oh
attached
my
to Boris.
gosh,
Do you know what I
Boris and
mean?
Phase together.
I mean, if it's not broken, cool.
Yeah, I think
I'm
that's
here
how they're
for
just
it. But
gonna.
like,
It's gonna be with cooldowns and actual damage
Yeah.
percentages that they'll balance that out.
You know what I do like about his bare necessities is it makes him very boxy, which means she could be very good in the off lane, which is
yeah,
really awesome. My if I actually really like the kit and I think like it makes sense. The only thing I don't like is if is that his stun or his pull or whatever you want to call it in his kit is his ultimate. And like his gap closer isn't like it's not a hard gap closer if that makes any sense because you still have the ability to run away to where with every other jungle like they have something that says you're not getting away this time, you know what I mean? Sevrog has his stun, Grux has his pull, Crunch had his uppercut, so on and so forth.
And maybe that's what balances him if you guys are under the impression that bare necessities might be too powerful and he may have too much sustain. Maybe he doesn't have to be able to stun them because, again, he's already going to be such a big force in that lane that being able to root someone or stun them would make him too powerful. Considering you guys just said that his bare necessities has the potential of being too broken. Yeah.
Sometimes,
so you have to give and choose.
Like I think where I agree, and I'm 100% for characters breaking out of the mold. I just sometimes I get worried and I think about maybe people are looking to the jungle to be a CC, to be a control of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that Boris can't be that, now that falls to some other character on the team. And
I guess that's the beauty of that alt straight up saying like executes under certain health threshold, because it's no longer a number. Like if that threshold, let's say it's 10-15% health, like just knowing no matter what, like even if they're the tankiest build and traditionally you wouldn't be able to do enough damage to actually execute them, the fact that guaranteed under that threshold you have a kill, that really, I mean, what more do you want from a gank like that, where you can guarantee a kill if the person in lane, the ADC, can get them down to that threshold?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I think this is one of those things like
you definitely need to see it in action.
Yeah, just want to say, this is one of those things like you truly just gotta see if it's better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm eager to play him. I'll say that the kit has got me eager to try him out.
Yeah, he's pretty awesome, and he's essentially Strange Matters like first original hero, guys. So, and what I mean by that is his animations were in the assets. His the way he looks was in the assets, but none of his abilities and numbers were. So this is the first 100% completely original kit, and for everyone that knows, Sylphin, who is like a god among men, essentially. I just sounded like I simp for him a little bit. I'm triggered now. Anywho, but he essentially created the majority of this kit, to my knowledge. So, yeah, it's just exciting to see what this is. This is where SMS can flex their creativity. Really, is in this guy. Like he's the major person to do so, if that makes any sense. Anyway, let's move on to the next one. So just going to pull up the next hero. The next hero is Gideon. His kit is essentially the same. There is a slight difference. And let's go over it. So we have his passive, which is Cosmic Progression. Periodically, Gideon's next ability will apply Decaying Slow on enemy heroes hit. If successful, hitting an enemy hero with the next basic ability allows Gideon to use another basic ability that is currently on cooldown. So he literally can just use 2 rocks back to back if done correctly. You have his ultimate, channel a black hole at Gideon's location, dealing energy damage to all nearby units and pulling them inwards. That's the same, but this part is different. Gain a shield based on the number of enemies within the black hole. And then you have his Cosmic Rift, which is summon a meteor through a Cosmic Rift at a target location that deals energy damage. You have his Torn Space, which is just his teleport. You got his basic attack and his Void Reach, which was a legacy thing where it's kind of like his Cosmic Rift, but it's like a horizontal skill shot instead. So summon a straight line projectile skill shot that pierces through minions and explodes when strikes terrain. Enemy heroes and when reaching max damage. Okay. Deals energy damage. There's a fucking comma place there. Yeah. So, Steve Chandler, what do you guys think of this? I'm gonna be honest.
That passive.
He sounds crazy good. Like, crazy good.
Yeah.
Think about it this way. So like in the monolith, like he didn't have a skill shot, so he couldn't do as much damage, right?
Yeah.
Grayons.
Hey, thanks for following, boys.
Thank you for following. Grayons are good. Do you know who Sockcap is? Just out of curiosity. But anywho, yeah. So there is that. So he now can do more ability damage than what he currently could in the past. His ult was super fantastic. And they also, he just seems so good. Like at the pro level, I remember watching it back in Paragon. People were choosing Gideon and Monolith. We're talking about there now, and before version 42, they were choosing Gideon as their mid laner simply because of how good his ultimate was. Even though they personally believed that Howitzer had a better kit, but his ult was so strong that they were choosing him. Now, I do believe his ult was slightly better back then. There was something different about it. I don't exactly remember.
Didn't his ult have a root? Or am I going crazy?
He might have, Steve,
Or
actually.
did it have a... Did it have a root?
He
Or a
had something.
stun?
He had something crazy, something ridiculous, at
Yeah.
one point in the game. I don't exactly remember. Also, his Z has flat damage. Yeah, I would hope. I would hope it got tuned down. Because it's just crazy. Like he's like the thing that Strange Matter is clearly going for with this, in my eyes, is they're trying to make a combo mage. Like he's going to be the person that you combo with. You throw your rock down, you throw your skill shot, and then you hit your basic, then you throw another rock down, and then they try to get away, so you get your teleport, you jump, you know what I mean? And that I think is really going to be cool.
Yeah, Grayons is saying that the ult stunned, which I did remember some kind of hard CC and just fucking hating it.
Yeah.
But now, I mean,
yeah, his skill shot wouldn't be that easy to hit, and I've seen what the skill shot looks like because I played the Alpha 3 weekend there. No, was it in Alpha 3? Yes, it was, yeah. And it's not the easiest thing. You're right. It's not the easiest thing. I think this is a great kit, to be honest. I think this is like everything people want. It keeps the nostalgia of the old hero that people want to see, as well as it progresses it in a way that Strange Matter I think is a good idea, essentially. And I agree with him. And they found his niche. He's a combo mage, guys. That is what he is. You know what I mean?
Whack. This is me. I'm not a big Gideon fan, but I'm sure fans of him will be
I'm
happy.
sure it does, Grayons. I'm sure it does a lot of damage. It must be wild. Like could you imagine if you just got hit by his Q, his R, and then his Q again?
So I was looking at his old R, and the black hole used to apply a stun and then slowly moved enemies towards the center.
Oh my goodness.
But the old one talks nothing about gaining a shield based on the enemies within the black hole. So it doesn't stun anymore and instead gives Gideon a bit of a shield.
And yeah. Yeah, I'm glad they took away the stun, to say the least. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's crazy. And I think, so if I'm not wrong, I think the point of the shield is that so if you're Narbash and you hit your thunk on Gideon in his ult, like you will knock him out of his ult. So the original Gideon ult gave him a shield. Oh, okay. So I think the point of the shield is so that even if he does get knocked out, he just has like that little bit of extra sustain, because they must I guess Epic Games there must have thought that he was dying too quick in his ult, if that makes any sense.
Well, that's what I'm just looking right now at the ability just in the other page, and I don't see anything in like the Paragon alt. I have ability damage, stun duration.
Yeah.
Pull.
Grant's saying way back in the day, so I think he means
like Legacy.
I think he means like Alpha, like Alpha Paragon.
Okay.
Yeah, way before it was a free game. Back when you had to pay to play Paragon.
I was gonna say back before I would have been playing.
Yeah, back before I was playing too. Grayon, if you have that play, send it to me. I would love to see it. Brandon, welcome. 80 cents, guys. For anyone that doesn't know, he's just someone. He's a Newfoundlander like me. He's super fantastic at battle royales. And,
how are you, bye?
This is full, Brandon. So what we're doing here is we're doing a, and we'll say this. So for everyone that tuned into the stream, this is what we're calling the Faultarian Journal. This is our 7th one here now, and what we're doing there is we're talking about Fault, and Fault is a Fault is just, it's going to be Paragon but better is essentially what it's going to be. It's going to be a third-person MOBA similar to Smite, but nothing like Smite, even though Smite is its next closest relative. It's kind of in a beautiful spot right now where there is no other game like it. So like for me to compare it to Smite is doing the game injustice, but that's the only comparison I can make, kind of thing.
You can always compare it to Paragon.
Paragon's dead, dude. Anywho. So do you guys got anything else to say about Gideon, or would you like to move on to the next guy?
Fuck Gideon.
Yeah.
That's all I gotta say about Gideon.
So now we're on to Muriel.
Hey, Muriel, pretty good.
Oh, that 100% Orthodox. I think a lot of people are going to give it a shot. It's kind of like how a lot of people are giving Valorant a shot because they're CS:GO players. You know what I mean? Like it's going to become to that, but it's not. It's going to be very different. Like I don't know how to say it enough. Like the in-depth mechanics are just going to be different in those games. Grayons. I know, and that's why I had to bring her up. Guys, this is Muriel.
Yeah.
This is Muriel. So let's just go over it. So you have Muriel's passive. Basic attack stack Divinity Mark on enemies. Divinity's Mark can be consumed by her Serenity and Consecrated Ground abilities, with each stack applying a root and dealing energy damage. Divine Touch can only affect the same target periodically. Yeah, okay. You got her Reversal of Fortune, which is her ult. Her ult is nutty. Her ult is super fantastic. Fly to an ally anywhere on the map, granting them a shield and knocking up nearby enemy heroes upon landing. That ult is good. I gotta say that. The Q, the Serenity, straight line projectile skill shot, deals energy damage and applies a slow to any target hit. Then you got your Consecrated Ground. Summon an energy field at a target location, shielding allies that touch it. When the field explodes, it deals energy damage to enemy units and applies another shield to any allies within the field. The second shield refreshes the shield duration. And then you got her basic ability, of course, a range basic ability. And then you got her R1, her RMB, Alacrity. Launch a projectile energy orb that grants movement speed to one allied hero that touches it. Guys, I'm gonna be honest. Remember how I said Iggy, or Boris may be the Iggy of Fault? Let me put it to you this way. At least Boris, I'm just gonna take a hard stance on my opinion here. At least Boris' kit sounded fun and sounded good.
Wait, what's the big difference between this and Paragon? Muriel. It's like the exact fucking same. Except now she has a passive.
No. There's some slight difference. Her Serenity and Consecrated Ground, they took something away from. I remember them discussing it one time.
Serenity still has the slow. Consecrated
Brandon.
ground still gives. Oh, the right click.
So her alacrity doesn't give a shield anymore?
Yeah, Black
Oh
Neon.
yes. They
Uh,
took away the shield.
Black Neon, I do believe it's going to be the exact same ult as Paragon, because it's a great ult. You know what I mean? The right click, the passive is dog shit, and her E abilities shields on hit, damage on pop. Yeah, it's just kind of crazy grounds, because you know what? I'm all for making Muriel more than a support. I would love to see her be an off laner or even a mid laner. Like, I'm all for her being more viable than just a support. You know what I mean? Like, I remember triangle formation back in the day where they used to where they're running through the comp scene, and they used to play Muriel off lane a little bit like that. I remember that. You know what I mean? In Paragon. Like I would love to see that, but
Literally the only difference with this Muriel from Paragon is that the shield she used to give on Alcredy is now attached to Consecrated Ground. All they did was take that and then add a passive. Because it still gets it puts a shield around them for projectiles, but then gives a shield to any allies within it.
Oh, okay.
So that's that same, as long as your ally's in there instead of it being on the projectile.
Okay, so Grayon's here is just saying
Yeah.
that the difference now is, so in Paragon, half the damage and would be hit on the enemy hero when that igloo went down, and then the other
I don't
half.
think enough has been changed.
Yeah, and then enough, and then the other half would be after. But now, the orb only does only gives shields. So it's only for the first half of the ability, it's only good for the teammate, and the other half it's not. But the thing that's weird about that is, like, now you're giving them time to get away from the ball. You know what I mean? To get out of the orb. Like, so what ends up happening from the way Grayon described it there is it's looking like half of her ability is always going to be useless for the most part.
Pretty well.
You know what I mean?
Pretty well.
And that's something. You know what I mean? And I don't know.
Why is her passive shitty?
Because it deals like no root damage. And it's for how difficult it is to get. It's not really that difficult, but for the time it takes to get it, it doesn't do enough, if that makes any sense. Her E had a shield.
Man, before. I used to hit Alacrity back in the day. It's just not good.
You know, and I am a support main, and I could tell you, like, I did not like playing Muriel back at Paragon. I did not think she was good. And I don't think they really made her any better. If anything, they made her worse. And,
I don't like they took the shield off of Alacrity. That was always like, because that was always like the big thing, right? Like if someone was running away, you could throw the ball to them, and then if they're still getting hit, you could hit them with the consecrated ground, and they get even more shield, and they can get away. And I mean, so that's just kind of weird. But like,
Grayon's just made a good point. So because of the way the passive works, because it's not dealing damage on pop or on hit, it's only dealing damage on pop. The passive's not working. It's very difficult to hit, and it's actually so difficult to hit that some of the testers who were top Paragon players back in the day are actually having trouble. So even at the top level, they're having trouble with consecrated ground. So it's essentially only Serenity is the only viable option to make Divine Touch actually work.
Greg, remember
that's what
Grayon's
here is trying to argue.
The kit in the Discord?
Yes.
That's a way better kit than what this is.
Yes. Shout out to... Okay, I'm going to butcher your name, so we're gonna give it a second. Oh yeah, this is Big Butcher. It's coming. Nichibotsukira. Shout out to you for the kit idea in the Faultarian Discord. I actually really enjoyed it. And yeah, so he... guys, I just don't know what to say more about this. This just... I'm very disappointed.
Well, maybe because like it depends on how big. It's two things, honestly.
Old R&B
'Cause
doesn't feel the same.
Because
Okay, yeah,
I'm
sorry.
getting that divine touch is, there's a good chance that it's really just gonna be Serenity that's gonna be proccing that. But here's the thing: if Consecrated Ground has a like short like standing time, like if it's a bubble for half a second, I could think that you could probably hit someone pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And two, it depends on the size of the bubble, because like that was always the thing about even just being like, because like this to me still feels like a support, and the fact that she gets a root, I feel like is making her a little bit better, because sometimes with Muriel it was never about getting kills, it was never about dealing a lot of damage, it was always just so now like because her basic attack always felt really stupid and dumb, but now you're trying to build up to this one person. So if you're building up Serenity or the Divine Touch against like the enemy support or something like that, and then the jungle comes in and you have this all saved up, you can hit like let's say you and the ADC go in, you hit the shield, like the consecrated ground on you and them, and then you give your ADC some shield, you get the root from the divine touch, and then as they're running away, you can hit him with Serenity, and obviously it won't root again, but it's still like it feels like it's just setting up a lot of things. But I think it's always just going to come down to like amounts and how long I think it takes for that bubble to explode. If it's a really small bubble and it's up for like a second or like 2 seconds, then yeah, it might be kind of hard. But like,
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely see the issues and the fears.
But it could just be just a bit of fine tuning. And the way I look at it, Steve, is why I don't like Muriel with the way she is. And I'm just gonna say this is her passive is supposed to give her a bit of initiation. So because the thing that Muriel does best is she keeps people alive. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But how do I word this? Sometimes you need more than just be able to keep people alive. Like, because she's not like a real threat. Like what I mean by that is when you see a Muriel in lane as a support, let's say, because that's most likely where she is going to be played, you're not worried about her hitting a thunk, or really even with her passive, you're not super worried about her applying some kind of root, because she's more of a defensive she's more of a defensive support. So that's where like I kind of have an issue with it, is she doesn't bring a threat for me in a sense. Her ult is awesome, don't get me wrong, but the rest of it she just doesn't. And I just don't see her ever being a better choice in any team comp ever than Bellica, Steel, or Narbash would be as a support ever, with the kit that she currently has. The only reason you're playing her is because you're playing her because you want to play her, because you like her. You're not playing her because she's a good choice, if that makes any sense. And that's the big thing. Like, there needs to be a reason besides she's fun to play there needs to be an objective reason why you want to choose her in the team that you currently have. You know what I mean?
What if the shield that she gives from Consecrated Ground is just like really fuck off good? Like, like what if it's just like
that could be it then? You know what I mean? Because that's like I remember in Alpha 3 weekend, like that shield, Consecrated Ground actually had fantastic poke ability. You know what I mean? So that's one thing, and you could definitely play her in the off lane because you can give yourself a shield, let's say. So that's kind of like your way of sustaining, so you can box, and you're ranged. So you have range can be annoying to play against.
Yeah.
In the off lane, right? So yeah. That's.
I think it needs a little bit of touch up here and there, but
yeah.
Overall, I'm.
You know what I was thinking? Muriel, I don't think is going to be a good choice for now in Fault with 14 heroes in the game. But what happens once they start bringing in melee carries and stuff? Muriel might end up being really good, really fast because she's not the one that's making the initiation now. It's the melee carry. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then she's there to make him a bit more sustainable.
Bruh, pair her up with Seraph, dual angels and shit, bruh.
Yeah. Do you remember when Greystone was his original concept was a melee carry? Like, do you remember that, Steve?
I do remember that.
Like, I don't know if anyone knew that, but like Greystone was originally his original concept was a melee carry.
Brain dead
Like-
melee carry.
Like, oh my goodness, I'm just mind blown. Never been played in the ADC role ever in his life. But that was his original concept. That was their first take on melee carries.
Yeah.
Was Greystone. And
The
he's
dark days.
and well, I guess that's it for that. Do you guys want to move on to Act 2 there?
Do we have a second thing in Act 1? Oh, we're on Act 2 though. We missed Raptors.
We missed Raptors. Oh no, let's talk about it for 5. Let's just talk about it for 5 minutes there, because it's important to me.
You gotta get that video out.
It has to get in there somewhere.
somewhere, yeah.
All right.
So,
Alrighty.
Greg, why Raptors? Why not Fangtooth?
Okay, so
Tell me.
for the last thing in Act 1, we got our Fangtooth there, and well, so in all reality, I don't think it's going to make that much of a difference if we choose Raptors, like the 3 Raptors or the big boy Fangtooth. I don't think it's going to make that much of a difference. But I prefer Raptors. And why I prefer Raptors is, number one, there's 3 of them. And the 3 of them adds a bigger dynamic and even more big brain plays in a sense. Because one thing that was really unique to the Raptors is if you don't kill all 3 of them, none of them respawn. You know what I mean? So you can use that to your advantage in certain situations. You know what I mean? Or it can be used to your disadvantage, vice versa, of course. And that's what I really like about it. And it also gives the ability that, because Raptors at the moment, they only work for one person at a time. So if they stick to just the one, it's 3 out of 5 get it. So then you get to pick and choose. It's most likely going to go to like the carry and jungler and stuff at first, for sure. But that's what I really like about it, is that. So it brings in that it just brings in more of a dynamic. I feel like it brings in more. There's some thought to who's going to get the Raptors. There's some thought to, should we kill all of them, or should we leave, or should we only get 2 of them? So the last one is just, they're just not going to respawn. So then you like kind of cut off some gold from that for the enemy team, let's say. But with Fangtooth, that's just not possible. You kill Fangtooth, he's going to respawn. You know what I mean? And yeah, and I'm pretty sure if they did have a Fangtooth, we're now moving into like a League of Legends kind of thing, where he's just going to give a buff, or he's just going to give the whole team gold. So even though the carry and support killed Fangtooth, you're going to see everyone get the buff for it, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Kind of like the dragon in League of Legends. And don't get me wrong, the dragon is a good idea. Like, League of Legends is doing something fantastic with the dragon. I'm not arguing that. I'm just saying that I think Fault is in a great place to create their own dragon, in a sense, or Gold Fury. And I would love to see them use it and make it work the way they want it to work. Not just change and say, scrap it. We're scrapping this idea. It sucks. We're just going to do whatever all the other games do and make it Fangtooth. You know what I mean? And it's not like, and I don't think it's that much they're reinventing the wheel with the Raptors. Like, you're still staying true to your MOBA, to the MOBA genre. It's not something left field, like something that Heroes of the Storm does or anything like that. It's just, it's still like a MOBA thing. Guys, is the video lagging for you guys? Or is it just me? Anywho, does anyone in the chat, is the video lagging for anyone? Or is that just for me?
No, it's choppy.
It is choppy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it could just be the game itself. No, it's definitely just Chop City out here. Chop, chop, chop. Well, that's not very good now, is it?
Rip.
We'll try to fix that soon there. Yeah, so that's what I would like to see. In all reality, do I think it really makes a difference? No, it's not going to make that much of a difference. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to be happy either way. It's nothing game breaking. I just personally think that it would be better to have the 3 Raptors. What do you, does Steve and Chandler, what do you guys think?
Oh, 100%, because we've talked about the concept of a raptor growing and whatnot, so I'm still all for that concept, but if it had to be a hard black and white Fangtooth or 3 raptors, definitely 3 raptors.
Yeah. That's what I think, at least. That's my personal, humble opinion there. Yeah, so that's it. I just wanted to mention a small point on the Raptor and Fangtooth idea that I had. So, we're going to move on to Act 2, which is kind of awesome. So, guys, what do we have in Act 2 to begin with? Yeah, this video is laggy.
Is an amazing question.
Is my CPU getting blown to bits right now? Like, what's going on? That's actually never happened before, though, so it's really weird. Oh, so our first topic in Act 2 is top-down versus third-person MOBAs and a jungle layout. So, yeah, that's what we wanted to mention.